this rock, those dark circular patterns you're seeing, on Earth, we'd immediately recognise them as signs of ancient microbial life. But this isn't Earth, this is Mars. And what NASA announced just days ago might be the most significant discovery in human history. For the first time ever, we may have found definitive proof that we are not alone in the universe. Our story starts 140 million miles away in a place called Jezero Crater. 3.5 billion years ago, this wasn't the barren, rust-coloured landscape we see today. It was a lake. Rivers flowed into it, carrying minerals and organic compounds, all the ingredients life needs to flourish. NASA knew this when they chose to send Perseverance there in 2021. They weren't just looking for rocks, they were hunting for fossils of ancient Martian life. And on June 9th, 2023, they may have found exactly what they were looking for. The science team was exploring an ancient river inlet when a particular rock caught their attention. As Perseverance moved closer, what they saw made everyone stop and stare. The rock was covered in tiny dark spots and larger circular patterns. The team immediately nicknamed them leopard spots and poppy seeds. To you and me, it might look like just another rock, but to NASA's geologists, this triggered every alarm bell they had. When we see patterns like this on Earth, they're almost always biological in origin. They're the fossilized signatures of ancient microbial communities, but finding them on Mars, that changes everything. Here's what makes this discovery so extraordinary. Perseverance immediately deployed its full scientific arsenal on this rock. 2 instruments were crucial: Pixel, which identifies chemical elements, and Sherlock, which uses lasers to detect organic molecules and minerals. The results were stunning. Right where those mysterious spots appeared, they found organic molecules, carbon-based compounds that are the building blocks of life as we know it. But it didn't stop there. The rock also contained iron, phosphorus, and sulfur, along with 2 very specific minerals that made the scientists' hearts race: vivianite and greyite. On Earth, these minerals are almost exclusively associated with biological processes, specifically the decay of organic matter in low oxygen environments. It's like finding a smoking gun at a crime scene. Let me put this in perspective. Imagine you're a detective investigating whether someone had been camping in a remote forest. You find a cleared circle of stones, some charcoal, and leftover food scraps. Even though you don't see the camper, the evidence is overwhelming that someone was there. That's exactly what we're looking at on Mars. For the first time in the history of Mars exploration, scientists have found all 3 key ingredients for life in a single sample: liquid water, organic molecules, and an energy source. But before we declare that we've found aliens, we need to be absolutely certain. Science demands it. The Perseverance team spent over a year trying to prove themselves wrong. They considered every possible non-biological explanation for what they observed. Could intense heat have created these patterns? The answer is no. The vivianite mineral they found only forms at low temperatures and would be destroyed by heat. Since it's still there, this theory doesn't hold up. Maybe highly acidic water flowing through the rock over millions of years created these minerals. Again, unlikely. They also found olivine in the rock, a mineral that acid would have dissolved away completely. Perhaps some unknown catalyst caused purely chemical reactions that mimicked biological processes. At the low temperatures of ancient Mars, scientists found no evidence this could happen. After exhausting every alternative explanation, the scientific consensus is clear. Ancient microbial life is the most plausible explanation for what Perseverance discovered. Think about what we're actually saying here. For thousands of years, humans have gazed up at the night sky and wondered, are we alone? Philosophers, scientists, and dreamers have debated this question across cultures and centuries. We might finally have our answer. If life arose independently on Mars, even just simple microbial life, it means life isn't a cosmic accident. It means that wherever conditions are right, life finds a way. And in a universe with billions of Earth-like planets, that suggests we're living in a cosmos teeming with life. The implications are staggering. Every potentially habitable exoplanet we've discovered, and we've found thousands, suddenly becomes exponentially more interesting. But here's the thing, we're not done yet. As Carl Sagan famously said, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, and you can't get more extraordinary than claiming you found alien life. That's where Mars sample return comes in. Perseverance has collected this precious rock sample and sealed it in a titanium tube. Sometime in the 2030s, if all goes according to plan, a series of 3 missions will work together to bring it home. A fetch rover will collect the samples Perseverance has cached, a Mars ascent vehicle will launch them into Martian orbit, and an Earth return orbiter will capture them and bring them back to our planet. Only then, when we can study these samples in our most advanced laboratories, with instruments too large and complex to send to Mars, Will we know for certain whether we've found our first alien life forms? NASA uses something called a confidence of life detection scale that goes from 1 to 7. Level 1 is detecting any signal that could potentially come from life. Level 7 is multiple independent confirmations of actual biological processes. Right now, this discovery sits somewhere in the middle, probably around a 4 or 5. To get to level 7, we need those samples back on Earth. But even at this intermediate level, the scientific community is more excited than I've ever seen them. I've been covering space exploration for years, and I've seen plenty of maybes and could-bes when it comes to life beyond Earth. This feels different. The convergence of evidence is unlike anything we've seen before. The scientific rigor is unprecedented. And for the first time, we have a clear path to getting definitive answers within the next decade. Whether we find microbes fossilized in Martian rock or discover that we truly are alone in the universe, either answer will fundamentally change how we see ourselves and our place in the cosmos. As Arthur C. Clarke once wrote, 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. We may be about to find out which one is true. The next few years will be crucial. Mars sample return faces budget challenges and technical hurdles, but it has been NASA's top priority for over a decade. We're closer than ever to answering one of humanity's most profound questions. For now, every time you look up at Mars, that small red dot in the night sky, remember that it might not be the dead, barren world we once thought it was. It might be the planet that taught us we're not alone, and that changes everything.